And I'm back, hopefully. Let's see if I can find myself so I can see what the chat's talking about. Here we go. Boom, there we go. Yay, we're back. Right, so I have to remember to not display the Hangout link. That is one thing that I've learned from, especially like Jamie Brown's when he got porn bombed. And I don't want to wait another 90 days not to be able to do this sort of stuff. So Ian, you're cool. I like you, so you are modded. I'm front. I believe you're modded. You're modded? Right, yeah, you are modded. So has anybody got anything they want to ask, or is there any questions that you haven't been able to get through over on Nathan's show? Because it is a bit of a fest over there, to be fair. It's hello, Twitwit. See you in 5 minutes. Glad to have you back, Sandra. Yeah, if Twitwit comes back in again and says anything, just ban it immediately. I was being kind when I just timed it out there, but I really don't need that person in my chat. So you mods, you've got the opportunity here to exact revenge whenever you get them. Boom, get rid of them. What topics? Anything you want. Anything you would like to talk about, I'm happy to talk about it. Because, you know, I mean, this is a channel that's basically for flat earthers. So if you're a troll or you're a baller and you're going to come in and cause havoc in the chat and wind people up, you're gone. It's as simple as that. So what are you thinking? I mean, I know you've probably heard a lot about the Isle of Man, but that's kind of like Nathan's side of things, where we can get into the nitty-gritty there. If there's anything else you want to talk about, or indeed if you do want to talk about the Isle of Man, we can do that. You got a broken wrist, Sandra? How'd you do that? It's not when you broke your P900, is it? Hello, near base. Nice to see you. Dawn Treader, I'll let one of the mods deal with you. They know what they have to do. So, Jeff. Hi, Chris. Nice to see you in. You won't be here for long when the mods do their thing. Again, this is a no troll channel. So any trolls that come in, you know what to do. Hi, Josie. Nice to see you. I've not been able to live stream for 90 days. I had a strike on my account. Thanks to Mark Taylor, I believe, who reported one of the videos that I'd uploaded. So, of course, Google decided to give me a strike for that, which meant that I couldn't stream for 90 days. Hi, Chris. Nice to see you. Chris, I'm sure you'll be banned imminently. Thanks, Josie. It's nice when you get somebody that comes in and talks to you nice and appreciates what we do. That's really nice. Yeah, well, the thing is, we have 4 or 5 moderators in the chat, so whoever decides to ban it doesn't really matter. The mods are here; they can do the job. P900's in here; she doesn't mind doing it. Oh, and here we have Riley in. Get your mod stick out, Riley, and start banning. See that, Chris MCM? You know, he's got to go. No, you can't come in, Chris. This is a no baller channel. Literally, no ballers get into this channel. If you're going to come in, what do you mean don't ban you? I've seen the filth you were saying in Nathan's chat today. I saw the filth. How you spoke to me today in Nathan's hangout, you was getting well in with the known trolls, and you thought it would be hilarious to join the bandwagon. Again, all I did was come in and say basically hello to people, and I get this, oh, you was abused by your uncle, that's why you saw your uncle come out of the wardrobe dressed as a lumberjack. Ridiculous. I simply was recounting a time when I was a child, maybe 3 years of age. There we go. Flat Earth and Other Hot Potatoes. Hello. I'll just make sure you're the real one. Go to the channel. Just double check. Oh, you certainly are. Okay. You can be a moderator on the channel. There we go. Jose, nice to see you in. You can have a mod status too. I haven't ever seen you say anything bad about anybody. Let's see, who else do we have in here? Yeah, it wasn't just him. There was, it literally got really nasty towards the back end. I mean, I wasn't responding to it. I just literally said, are you really going to go down that route? Literally, that was all I said. Are you going to go down that route and start talking about this lumberjack as it's some kind of thing to beat me over the head with? And of course, all the trolls jumped on and they were all saying I'd been roofied as a child, put to sleep, and then I was abused by my uncle, who then raped me, etc., etc., etc. And this is why I was seeing the man in the wardrobe, the lumberjack, and all this kind of thing. And they even had sock accounts, lumberjack is back, and things like this. So, you know, this is what we have to put up with. And literally, I'm glad that Nathan shares this, because everybody gets to see what these trolls do and how they act. And I did say to you after the hangout that this is what they would do. I predicted it, didn't I? If you remember rightly, I said, oh yeah, they'll definitely be trolling me over this. I mean, I'm surprised they've not trolled me over the astral projection side of things as a child as well, but I'm sure that will come. Hi, Sean. Nice to see you in. There we go. Can someone remove that cum teeth and go? Don't really need him in the chat. Thank you very much. Boy. Yeah, to be fair, I mean, I mean, this is the one thing about Nathan's channel which is fantastic, and probably why I'm actually displaying the chat here, is that you have these trolls admitting in front of everybody else that not only did they troll, and not only did they dox you live and give your details out to all and sundry, telephone numbers, addresses, names, all this kind of stuff, But they also admit that they aren't the only ones doing it, because other people are doing it too. So they clearly admit that they are the ones phoning you up at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. And, you know, and all this because you do what? What do? You try and debate a flat Earth, a topic called flat Earth, and that's basically it. So, I mean, some of the things that people say, I mean, it's awful, really. I mean, everybody in the flat Earth, everybody, they get attacked left, right, and centre, and it just seems that it's the infighting and the fighting from the outside that's kind of breaking us apart, because we could get somewhere. We really could get somewhere if we all pull together. And when you see, I mean, I don't want to really name names, but I'm going to on this occasion. We have Dell, for instance, beyond the imaginary curve, and you know, I've always liked Dell. I've always liked listening to what he said. I've been subscribed to him for a long time, and he's turned nasty over the last month or so about perhaps the way Nathan's doing the show. But ultimately, he doesn't realise there's an end goal to all this, and there's been a game. It's not a game, but there's been a way that you have to bring down the flat Earth, to bring down the ball Earth. You have to play the game. And you simply can't just release evidence that says, hey, guess what, guys? This is flat Earth proof. We can see Langness Lighthouse from 51 miles away. So in order to win not just the argument of what can we see, we needed to bring down the entire system, so to speak. And this is how we've gone about doing it. And it was a very simple concept. It was very simple. What we did after every debate is we discussed how that particular debate went, and we realized where they had maybe a point, we would address it the following day, and ultimately it's ended up fantastic, where we have not only shown the Earth to be flat in the region of where we live, but we've also had the balls have to concede so many things. For instance, that they could see around the entire world, basically, and look at their own ass in a telescope if they had a long enough camera and the right weather conditions, which, to be fair, is absolutely preposterous. They also would talk about how they don't have a working model, Google Earth, so it's no longer a working model. Yes, and they've actually come out and stated this. We've had boycotts, we've had everything that you can think of, because ultimately they cannot debunk the evidence. It's impossible to debunk the evidence, and they can't do it. They've had this for what, 6 weeks now, and nobody has been able to debunk it. It's never going to get debunked. It's why a lot of channels love this stuff. I'm sure I had slow mode on. You know, is there any way I can address this issue with a slow mode? I'm sure I'd had it set up where you could only talk every 8 seconds, but it seems that I've not been paying attention this time. So I think obviously one of the guys that you banned must be this guy that's the cum teeth one. I think it's actually Captain B. Captain B. We'll call him Captain B. Hi, Nathan. I'll just make sure it's the real you. Let's see. Yes, it is. Right, okay. You can be a moderator in here. So in this channel, Nathan, if you see any trolls, you are absolutely 110% given full permission to ban them immediately on site. Jibby Jeddy, are you the real Jibby Jeddy? Let's see. Are you the real? Let's have a look. Video. I believe you are. I believe you are. Where are we? Jibby Jeddy. yes, you can have a mod status too. So you can flat smack these trolls. You can have a race actually to ban them. So it's really that easy. As soon as this is the first live hangout that I've been able to do for 90 days, and it's a different channel. So of course we have all the trolls coming in. So as soon as they come in with these, this is what I'm expecting the first day, is all the trolls to come in. So get them all banned now, because in a couple of hangouts time, they won't have any stock accounts left to do all this kind of stuff. So it'll be a lot easier. So today is literally, it's going to be like getting your tennis racket out and whacking those mosquitoes, because this is what's going to happen. Waiting for the mosquitoes to come in. Let's ban their channels right now. There we go. There's another one that needs to go. So once he's banned, then he will not be able to come on this particular channel again. So in time, it'll work out where we've got them all banned, and we can have a relatively easy time of this. It's great fun. If anybody thinks they deserve a mod status, let me know, because I will mod you up and you can have the fun of banning these trolls whenever they come in. Oh, here we go. What does he say? You'll get another 90 ban before all the socks are used up. Well, I know which particular account that one is. And that one is actually Mark Taylor, because he actually got the that image that he's using is an image of me as a teenager, I believe. I'd have been about 18 or 19 at that time, and he actually got it off my Facebook account. So there we go. I shall what do you do? Remove, report, remove, put user in timeout, hide user on channel. I don't know what you do to, but whatever it is that you need to ban him. If you can get that Shane Cock Gobbler up here, and if you can get him, and you can get him banned, please. Thank you very much. Yay. See, yeah, Requiem, you see. I mean, once YouTube, let me just check you're the real YouTube first. No, you are definitely not the real YouTube, so you need to go. You need to go. Just remove them there. There we go. Like and subscribe, people, or dislike and don't subscribe. Either way, I'm not really fussed, because sooner or later, when the flat Earth takes off worldwide, I mean, it's already growing now. I mean, these trolls, they'll fade into a very small minority. Whereas now you're probably, what I would say, 15% of the viewers on flat Earth channels. But you make a lot of noise. You know, you would assume that there was more of you than there actually is. So, of course, once we get a lot more people involved in the flat Earth, nobody will even recognize you. And I'm sure all the channels will basically just do the same thing and just instant ban you, because we don't need you in. Oi, John Watson. I'll just check you are the real John Watson. Yes, you are. You can have a mod status. There we go. You are added as a mod. So another YouTube. Go to channel. Let's have a look. Ban the fake Mez Rancy. I'll never ask for a wrench. No, because you're not the real one, are you? How do you... Yeah, John Motson's real. Yeah. They call him Twatson. I think they call him Twatson, don't they? So this is great fun today because all the trolls are going to come in, and as soon as they start talking, it's going to be a who can. Yeah, nice one, Jibby. You had fastest finger there. You get a gold star for that one. That was pretty quick. You no timing out. Ban them. Just ban them. Death is a hoax to keep us in control. That's a very interesting theory. I never actually thought of that, actually. But I suppose, you know, I mean, when I was a kid, like I said, it was, you know, I could astral project as a child, and that was basically the inner spirit coming out of the body. Now, does that mean that I actually believe in it now? Or what I was believing as a child? I really don't know. I just know that it was real and appeared real for me when I was a child. So I still have a very good recollection of that time, and it felt extremely real. So it's possible, for sure, that, you know, if you knew that when you died you went on to another place and you ended up, you know, you just existed, you carried on living, you went somewhere else, in whatever form, whether it's reincarnation or it's just as a spirit or something like that. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense if you're fearing of death. But if you know that death is going to set you free in a way, you know, because you become a spirit, and yeah, I mean, that kind of makes sense. I mean, I was talking to Patricia before about the child that, when he was born, he instinctively knew that he didn't live in that house. He knew that he lived somewhere else, and he pestered his parents from as soon as he could talk, basically, and said, "This isn't my house." And he said where he lived, and he described what's going. He described what was happening in where he believed he lived, which was some other county, some 400-500 miles away. And his parents drove him there, and they drove him right to the house that he said. He directed them, and when he knocked on the door, this lady answered, and he recognized this lady as his wife. Crazy as it sounds. And yes, Jose, this chat is exactly about getting rid of trolls. It is about getting rid of trolls. So if you see any trolls coming in, just keep banning them. They'll run out of troll stock accounts eventually. And if they want to make some more, great, because that just gives us more batting experience later on. And you see, I mean, look at the lengths they go to. They even get, I mean, look, CTS, baby. Also, we're talking about Chris Truthseeker there. So they actually have an image of Chris Truthseeker. Hang on, let me have a look at this. Let's go to his channel. And they've actually, I mean, what have they done here? They've put some kind of Nazi sign on his head. Oh, I can't do it on this. Open image in a new tab. There we go. All right, can't really see it. Hang on. So let's see what they've done here. So they've put, let's see. So they've put a couple of devil's eyes on him. Okay, I don't know what this thing is going around his head, but this is, so they've obviously taken a screenshot of him, gone to the, I would assume probably paint or something like that, and they've put a Nazi swastika on his forehead. They've tried to make him look like a devil with a, I don't know, I guess this is some kind of beard. And then they've made an account of him called CTS Baby just to troll him. I mean, this is the extent of the things that these guys go to. It's actually quite funny. I mean, these guys, they must have no life. Must have no life. I mean, it's pretty crudely drawn, to be fair. I mean, I don't know what they used to draw it, but it wasn't very good, was it? I mean, it was like a 3-year-old did it. It was probably Mark Taylor, I think. I think it's his type of thing that he does. Oh, we haven't seen a troll in for a while. There's no trolls left. Come on, you can make another. Come on, make some more accounts. Come on, this is a bat the troll. Come on, once we get all the trolls removed, just think about it this way. If you get all the trolls removed today, and then, or maybe over the next couple of days, and they're all gone, they've got no stock accounts left, I can actually watch and do a real live stream where I don't have to just be worrying about what the trolls are saying in chat, because there'll be none left. So I had a few people lined up that were going to come on today. Uncle Cook, here we go. Let's have a look at this. Uncle Cook. All right, let's have a look at your channel. Go to channel. So let's see. So here we have Uncle Cook. I think that's PMars, is it? Is it PMars? Is it supposed to be PMars? Maybe I'm wrong. Got 1 subscriber. And again, just it must be PMars, because this is open image in new tab. Right, so yeah, because you can see the cropping that's gone on around the head. So again, the levels that these guys go to, they've used probably paint.net or something to remove the background and crop his head out and stick it on some, I don't know, some fat guy, and they've put like a hat on him as well to match his coat. They called him Uncle Cook. Wow. I mean, it's quite astonishing the lengths that these guys will go to create a sock account. But it's just another one that can be auto banned. There we go. Good job, Jibby. Pomtart, Nathan, Isle of Man, Mason, Oakley. Mason. Why would you say he's a Mason, Pomtart? I mean, the Isle of Man does have a lot of Masonic symbols on it, especially the airport. I mean, if I've got that up, no, I haven't got it up yet. But yeah, I'm pretty sure that it does. Let's go to, let's open maps. And let's have a look at this, the Masonic stuff on the Isle of Man. I mean, I never really noticed it, really. It was actually Nathan that pointed it out to me, to be fair. So if we go over to the Isle of Man and we look down here, and let's put it on satellite so you can all see what we're looking at. We're looking beyond the I mean, look at this. I mean, are you kidding me? Look at this airport. Look at it. Is that not Masonic? I mean, come on, look at that. When he pointed it out, I nearly fell off the chair. I mean, I didn't think it to be as blatant as that. But yeah, it certainly is. I mean, maybe the Isle of Man is the, yeah, as Nathan was saying, I was talking to him after the show today, and just the position where the Isle of Man is. Okay, so we have the Isle of Man here, and because it can be viewed from a bunch of different places, so if you was over here in Wales and you're looking at the Isle of Man, you could see Ireland to the left behind it, well, just to the side of it, and Scotland behind it, and you're going to see Wales and a bit of Ireland, and if you're in England, you're seeing Northern Ireland, and depending on where you are and whether you believe the maps or what have you, perhaps even a bit of Scotland, who knows. But the simple point is that from any location looking across here or here, you're looking at least 100 miles. So if you've got something in the foreground that you can reference and identify, and you see something in the background behind it, then clearly you're looking at a lot further than around a ball. So when Anthony looked over here and he saw Ireland, maybe if you went to Wales, you could look up and see Scotland. Who knows? Maybe if you looked at the low-lying stuff or just around the end, maybe if you caught Morgold Lighthouse here and you was able to see it in Wales, so you could identify that. Well, then, if you could see the mountains behind and the forest and all this, and you could see some landmass here, then clearly you're seeing Scotland too. And maybe they realised that this piece of island here is a very important landmass, because if you can prove that it's entirely flat in this location, which you're probably looking at what, 1,000 square miles or something ridiculous, a massive amount of land, and you can line everything up by what you see in the foreground, which is the Isle of Man, to what you see in behind, which is the would be obviously the further stuff away, the back behind, 100 miles away, 150 miles away. So maybe they've co-opted this and they've done things like this and they've put these symbols on. You know, look at this symbol here. I mean, so obvious when you actually look at it. And I'm sure Nathan, in fact, actually, Nathan, perhaps tomorrow you could discuss a few of these particular landmarks that are on the Isle of Man, because it does seem very interesting that this particular landmass has so much Masonic stuff on it. Let's have a look back at the chat, see what's going on. PI Lottie, no. Not usually, no, definitely not. As I said, there's no trolls on here. I mean, it is a very interesting landmass for sure. I mean, I am probably, well, I am going up on Friday. I will be going up to St. Bees, and I will be trying to see if I can recreate what Anthony saw. Is it likely that I'll be able to capture the detail that he did? Probably not, because it all depends on the weather conditions. You can actually see on the image where it is such a fascinating composite, actually, because it has everything in it. Literally has everything in it. It has the refraction that the ballers claim. It has the mirage that the ballers claim. It has a bit of looming, but it also shows a flat Earth, and it shows 145 miles away island, and it's absolutely fascinating. And I'm sure that this topic, and then maybe it might even set off a lot of people to go and try and recreate the same thing that Anthony's done, because we know that Al K went up. Yeah, we know Al K went, and we know that Miles Davis went. And it's actually quite, I don't know whether I should play any of their stuff, actually, because they might copyright strike me for it. Just because that's the way, the type of people that they are. However, if you'll notice in his video, when he's talking about the wind farms, he shows you no panorama of the land. So effectively what you're looking at is the ocean and some wind farms that are clearly a very long way away, 30 miles or so. And then he pans across to the left and you just see the outcrop of another piece of land that's again 20 miles away, and that's it. You don't see any. He tells you the time that he took it, which he doesn't actually. He fails to actually recognize that it is at full high tide. You're talking nearly 9 meters in height on the tide that day. But he also shows you no context where he is, whereabouts he was on the hill. you know, I mean, when Anthony released his video, he showed you the entire span. So he would show you the caravans, he panned around, he showed you the sand beneath him, the sea, the rocks, everything you needed to see. And then he panned into the Isle of Man. So you had no doubt as to, you know, where the tide was, where he was on the hill. Right. So it's there for everyone to work out. But with Miles, he didn't do that. And he also went to debunk Anthony. Effectively, he went to, we were told he was going to take a GPS app and another, and he was going to work on something else. He had 2 or 3 different things that he was going to prove the height. What he ended up doing was taking an image of Al K on the hill and cropping him out and stacking him one on top of the other. He then guessed a rough height of how high Al K was, because he didn't have that information. Obviously, Al K hasn't told him that he's 5'6" or 6'2" or 7'4". He's not told him any of this. He's just basically guessed his height, cropped him out, and stuck him on top of each other, you know, one on top of the other, to work out the height of the hill. Which, if that's the way he wants to do it, that's fine. But he had gone to do all this scientific stuff, right? He'd gone to go and he was going to do the GPS, and he was going to tell everybody exactly where Anthony was standing and what the height was. And he came back and basically did what I did with the caravans and cropped them out and said, okay, that's what we're looking at, 35 feet. And then he cropped Al K out, guessed his height, and said, that's what we're looking at, 90 feet. It's like, come on, guys. Are you serious? You went all that way and you couldn't get a GPS. And then you release videos and you don't even show your location. You don't show where you are. You don't give any. It's ridiculous, the lengths that these balls will go to. And they haven't still released any evidence to show what they actually captured on the Isle of Man. Go figure that. They haven't done it. And why would they not do that? You see, when I go, I'll have Lewis, Hackett, yeah, see ya, bye-bye. You're getting banned. Cool. Yeah, nice one, Jibby. Yeah, so when I go on Friday, I'll release every video that I take on the day. And you can check that with the numbers on the DSN, because they go up in numbers. You can't change them, physically can't change them. So I'll release all the videos, and you'll see what I see. I'll show you them in full. So if I do happen to capture any of the Isle of Man, I'll show it you. And if I don't happen to any of the Isle of Man, again, I will show you that again. You know, it's as simple as that. Every day we know that the climate changes and the weather can be localized in certain areas. So if I just happen to go along, and it's funny that every time that I've actually said that I'm going to go to a place and do an investigation and do an experiment and upload it, every time I've gone and done it, I've actually showed a flat earth. It was like the time that I went to Barrow-in-Furness, and I said, about a month before, I was telling everybody, I'm going to Barrow-in-Furness on the day when the illuminations start, because the illuminations are open till 2 a.m. which means that that whole peninsula will be lit up like a Christmas tree until 2 a.m. and it's the only time in the year that they do that. So it doesn't matter about the weather. I'm going to go there and I'm going to video and take images of Blackpool Tower and the peninsula from Barrow-in-Furness. So I went along, did that, and sure as eggs were eggs. Let's see if I've got it up on here. I might have it on here. Where are we? Yeah, there we go. So there again, sure as eggs are eggs, 2 a.m. in the morning, and I told everyone a month before I was going. I went along and I saw from 19 miles away a flat earth. And here we have the mirror ball, which at that particular time, including tide heights and everything else that we needed to know, and my viewer height, which had actually been about 2 feet above sea level, because I was literally in the water with my tripod. This mirror ball, which was set at 26 feet above sea level at that time. So I went along, I'd said a month before I was going on this day, simply because these lights on everything, these are, no, this is the part of the illuminations here. These were down to I believe it was 16 feet above sea level. Go figure that. 16 feet. Tiny, tiny bit of miraging going on just here. But everything else in proportion, right? Now, is that a coincidence that I just happened to go along on a day when I'd predicted it a month before? I said, the illuminations are open until 2 a.m. I'm going to go there, I'm going to film, see what I can see. And then I've gone along and I've seen a flat earth. So was it just one of these special days that I happened to go out and do this? Or is it just that it's flat? And if you've got lights in the distance that you can identify, you can just see these things because it's flat. They're just there. And I'll show you, for instance, on the maps. Where are we? Hang on. Let's see. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. On the maps, I'll show you where I was. So yeah, I was over here. This location here. And I was looking across the North Sea again. And I was looking over at Blackpool, way over here. I was capturing Blackpool, and then there was the big one and everything else, which was here in South Shore. Pleasure Beach was here. Blackpool Tower was there. Fantastic. So was it a coincidence that I just happened to go along on a day that the weather was right for it? Because it was the only day that I said I was going to go and do it. I mean, I didn't, unless you're actually thinking I'm some kind of magician and can predict this sort of stuff. Or was it just because it was a clear day and the lights happened to stay on till 2 a.m.? Just the way it is. I can show you another video. For instance, went to Liverpool with Anthony when we captured Blackpool Tower from 29 miles away. I was looking over at the wind farms, and we're actually on the beach here. You know, it's crazy. There's me showing, unlike Miles Davis, there's me actually panning around to show you exactly where I am, so you can triangulate to the foot exactly where I was stood when I took this video. Now when we zoom in and we're looking at things in the distance, these are the wind farms that are 20 miles away that you can clearly see. But this part of the peninsula here, on this landmass over here, I'll show you in a second, we actually see an old lighthouse that's actually on the, there we go. See that little ledge there and the square? That's actually a lighthouse on the corner of Llandudno. It's not very high. I think it's only about 80 feet above sea level. And bearing in mind that this is 30 miles away. This is 30 miles away. And I'm actually on the beach and I can see this at 30 miles away, right? And that's 80 feet above sea level. And again, I'll show you on the maps where that is. Just crazy. Went to Hoy Lake. Where are we? Hoy Lake down here. There's Hoy Lake. So it was around here somewhere. We looked across here, all the way to Llandudno, all the way over here, and we have a little thing called the lighthouse, which is there. I'm probably scrolling too far there, so let's scroll up a little bit. But yeah, there's the lighthouse. There it is on the edge of the rocks. And I'm seeing this from 30 miles away. It's ridiculous to say that we live on a ball. Just ridiculous. And again, is it just because we went there on this particular day that we just happened to see this? Or is it just because we've got a P900 now and we've just got people that are looking for this kind of stuff that we can see it? I mean, I've cropped these out with the ones that were in the foreground as to the background, and basically the angular size of these is the same. The angular size of these ones is the same as the angular size of the ones that are 10 miles nearer, which proves that we're living on a flat plane. Because if we weren't, they would change. You would see less of the bottom. So basically, you would see the blades touching the water and going in the water and then coming back out again. But we're not seeing that. The angular size stays the same. Was it just a coincidence that I just happened to go on that time? Here's the barrowing furnace just to prove where I was. There's me with my camera at night time. This is the lengths we have to go to. There's my camera. There's my tripod. There's my camera set on the tripod, and you can see the sea behind it, literally about 2 feet away from the sea. And there I was looking across. But this is what we have to do to prove where we were. The GPS is no longer good enough. Now we have to produce video evidence to show, hey, do you know what? This is where I was on this day. And here I go, and I'll go and press the button and I'll take an image. All to prove to you that the Earth is flat. You know? You don't get this kind of openness with the ballers. They went along to disprove Anthony. They want along to disprove him, and they haven't released a single thing. Nothing. They're talking about everything else than what they actually went to go and do in it originally. Here's another one. Here's me at the beach again. Just happened to go down. And if you've been following my channel before, you'll know that this was never released, because this was one of the weakest things that I ever thought about. Didn't even think to produce this. But here I am. There's the water coming in. Yeah. I'm going to stick the camera on it. And I'm going to look out at some boats way off over here. Well, this boat, 9.5 miles away. You know, it should be under this much of curve where the cursor is now. You shouldn't see any of it. You shouldn't even see this boat. You shouldn't see any of this. You shouldn't see any of the wind farms. And do you know how I know that this is this boat and where it was, how many miles away? Because I actually went and phoned up the owners of this boat and asked them to give me the details, the GPS coordinates of it on this particular day, which they did. They pointed me to a website in which I was able to triangulate its exact position when it bypassed these particular turbines. 9.5 miles away, people. Does it look curved to you? The curvature should be up here. Again, was I just lucky that I went along and just happened to stick my camera in the water right here, right back here, right here? Was it just coincidence that I was able to see that from there, 9.5 miles away? Or is it just a flat Earth? Yeah, because we have nothing, do we? No, of course. All we have now is just better optics, and we have people that are willing to go out and do this kind of research. You know, there's evidence everywhere. If you had a P900 and you went out and you had a P900 and did some videoing, you'd want to show it off, wouldn't you? So again, it's like Anthony's been asking for the video evidence that the ballers have when they went to St. Bees to repeat the observation that Anthony did, but they're not releasing that. Probably way behind on the thing here to find out where I'm up to. Right, okay. Yeah, and they haven't released it. They've got a P900, they've got evidence, not releasing it. And what they're very careful in doing is what they actually do release. If you've noticed, like I was telling you before, when I so want to play his video, but I don't want to get a copyright strike, so I'm not going to do it. But I'm sure you can all go and check it out yourselves. It's where it's like an hour-long hangout that he does about a week and a half ago. And you'll see what I mean when the only portion of the video clip that he releases is where he's already at probably maximum zoom on the wind turbines that are like 30 miles away. I mean, it's ridiculous. And then he goes into great deal mapping them all out, and he doesn't take refraction or any kind of atmospheric conditions into the analysis that he's talking about. And he completely ignores the Isle of Man. I wonder why that is. You've got to ask yourself, why is that? You know, people, you've got to wake up. You really do, because, you know, we've been lied to from birth. and there's a reason why they do it. There's a reason why they are lying to us. I mean, and I'll shout him out again, actually, Martin Leakdy, because if you haven't subscribed to his channel already, I absolutely insist that you must go over there and view what the evidence that he's been putting forth, because it is absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fantastic, especially about our history and what we perceive to be our history and what we've been taught. I mean, I know there's a lot of haters about things about what might have gone on with World War II and stuff, and World War One, and the time before that, and how it all came about. And there's a lot of people that have strong beliefs on one side about, is history the way we were taught, or is it just the way that we were the winners write the history? And what Martin is actually doing is actually showing evidence from books and journals and encyclopedias of the time, you know, I mean, talking 250 years old, that were showing the accuracies of things the way they were back then. So, for instance, when it was really cold, and they had that really cold snap in the 1800s, and he's just talking about it now. It's fascinating to know that famine was massive. Is that the real Pete Shea? Is that the real Pete Shea? Let's just see. It is the real Pete Shea, so you can have a mod. There you go. Yeah, it's just fascinating to know. Fascinating to think that we've had a history taught us that may not be the history that is where we are really, and it's being backed up not just by his own beliefs but by physical books that existed at the time. And if you notice, a lot of these books, they try to get rid of them. A lot of the wealthy people, they bought up these books back in the day, and trying to get hold of these old encyclopedias are like gold dust. And somebody somewhere is giving him this information, and it's fantastic that he has this, because he's now releasing it to people that have probably never seen it before. Well, I've never seen it before, and it's beautiful, beautiful work. I really do encourage you to go over and have a look. Martin Leakdy, I think he's called. It's under Flat Earth British, and if you want to look for his channel, yeah, brilliant. And Pete Shea, Dodo, nice to see you in here. I think I was talking to you recently, and you said that you might have encouraged Martin to go down that path, looking at history and stuff, with your assertion that the dodo was never real. And basically, I know what you're trying to say is that our history, what we've been told about history, isn't real. So in that respect, you know, if you have set him down on that track, kudos to you, because he seems to be digging up a lot of real evidence. I'd be interested to know exactly what you have, you know, what evidence you have. You know, I know you talk a lot about the dodo when you go off on stuff, but if you could be a little more concise with your stuff when you're talking about this stuff, instead of going on about the behemoth, and you just talk about the history and stuff, things that you know, things that, you know, be a little more concise, it'd be fantastic. So I want to know, oh, Anthony, are you still in? Because if you're still in, great. I want to know, are you going to come along on Friday? Are you going to give us a hand? Wouldn't mind measuring the heights with you and everything. See if we can get 2 P900s going, because I want to stay long enough to see whether or not the lighthouse is going to flash on the southern tip. Because I don't think we'll be able to see a ferry going, because, hi Arwin, is it the real Arwin? Is it the real Arwin? Let's see. It is. Arwin, you can have a moderator status as well. By the way, instant ban. Any trolls come in? Oh, Karen, hang on, wait a minute. Karen P. Coltrane. You're getting a mod too. Yeah, any trolls that come in, instant ban. There's a lot of people in here that I wouldn't say were a troll. So you know the ones we're talking about. Any with a sock account, anyone that comes in and starts talking about things that are just completely irrelevant to the flat earth and trying to troll, you know who they are. Just instant ban them. Get rid of them. Don't need them in this chat. And this is, I mean, to be fair, this hangout today is basically, I knew this would happen because it's been 90 days since I've been able to live stream, and this is a new account. So I expected all the trolls to come in, and sure as eggs are eggs, they all came in, and we've banned every single one of them. So in a couple of more hangouts time that I'll probably do over the next week or so, we'll filter out the remaining dregs, those that are still trolling, those ones with the sock accounts, instant ban them, and then we can actually do some proper debates. We can have a nice civil chat, and I'll be able to open the hangout to invite people to come in and have chats if they've got any evidence they want to display. Nothing like Nathan's, because you know this is totally different. This is basically an echo chamber, so to speak, for flat Earth. No trolls allowed, and that's how it's going to be. So if anybody does want to have a link or anything like that in the future, you can message me. I won't publish the link in the description. It'll be handed out to people individually. Anybody in chat got anything to ask? Anybody got any questions on anything that I could perhaps address right now? It looks like the Isle of Man in the full shot, does it? What do you mean it looks like the Isle of Man? Looks like the Isle of Man and it's in the full shot. It is the Isle of Man in the full shot. Of course it is. But what we're actually doing is that when you get to the left-hand side and the right-hand side, the two images are, it's like two different images. I mean, you've got the right-hand side here, which is clearly sitting on a band of refraction. It's very evident. You can see the mirroring that comes around here. So all this is being mirrored back on itself. So what that means is that there's a line of dirty air where my cursor is. And right in the center of this part here on the nose, right in that center part, you can draw a line across it. And this lighter part here is basically the sky. What you're actually seeing is the sky above it. It's being mirrored back on itself. So when you're actually seeing the sky here, what that actually means is you're not seeing the true land behind it, because the true land that should be behind this is having this mirroring effect in its way. So if you didn't have the mirroring going on here, you would obviously see in this area that's just like a light blue at the minute, you would see the remainder of this landmass. But also, we know when we see this kind of anomaly here, this mirroring that's going on, we know that it also creates a kind of refraction as well. Anything that goes on with the weather at these kind of distances, especially over water, creates this distortion. So you can never be too sure exactly what you're looking at, especially when you come on this side and you realize that if we follow that same logic, that the sky is being reflected on the sea, so we have a band of refraction going along here. It's a bit easier to see on this part here, actually. You can see where the sky seems to come down and go up, and then this band of refraction goes up to meet it and then comes down again. It's a mirror image of itself, which proves that there's a band of refraction going on here. However, that's on the north part, and that's the nearest to us. However, when we come across to this side, we have a little bit here where it comes back on itself. So we're seeing the sky again here, reflected. But the further along the image we go, all that band has gone. So we're not actually seeing it. So basically, we're not getting any atmospheric conditions in this area. So on the north part here, it's very ambiguous as to what you can see. Even though it's nearer, you know, it looks, features-wise, it's very difficult to pick out the features. That's the thing. It's very unclear and it's very miragey, and you've got the mirroring that's going on. But the south, which is further away, right, is so much clearer, which just goes to prove that it's localized weather that stops us seeing long distances, especially over water. So pretty much what I'm suggesting here is that in this area here, between Anthony and this observation over here, there was atmospheric conditions that created this miraging effect, right? However, those same weather conditions that were prevalent here were not prevalent in this location here, or this location here, or even here, right? And that was just because these distances involved are massive. I mean, the distance from the lighthouse here to the distance to the lighthouse here is 21 miles. 20, it's the size of, it's almost a marathon, right? If you think of how long a marathon is, that's 26 miles. So literally from where my cursor is now to here, sorry, a bit further on to there, is 21 miles. It's almost a full marathon in length. So when you're looking at the, I mean, from me personally, it's like from Blackpool to Preston. It's a long way away. So it could be pissing down in Preston, or it could be snowing in Preston. And here we could have bright sunshine. And because it's localized weather. When we look at this, we don't see it as an island that's of such vast distances. And in actual fact, from the whole span, you're looking around about 35 miles. So the weather conditions over here could be completely different to here, and could be completely different to here, which is why this composite is, and the video is so fantastic, because it's just showing that even in the closest part here, we're getting this mirroring. And yet in the furthest part, which is over here, like down to Douglas and Douglas Head and all that kind of stuff, and the lighthouse, we're seeing a lot further, 51 miles, and it's clear. And so, yeah, when you say that we're seeing the whole island, yes, we are seeing the entire island, every part of it. It's just that some of it is in the refraction area, and you don't know what's been miraged up, and you don't know what's going on. And then others are very clear, and you're seeing much further. And that's why this composite, I'm sure, will be talked about for a very long time. And hopefully it'll be a place that we can keep going back to. I mean, and who's to say that Anthony on this particular day didn't have the best weather conditions? He thinks in his head he might have had the best weather conditions, but he's seriously telling me on the one day that he's gone to film it and he's happened to capture this, that it just happened to be, again, a great day, just like when I've gone to Barrow-in-Furness or Hoy Lake, that we just happened to see the weather conditions were just good enough to see this far. Was it luck? Or is it just that he thinks this was the best day ever to go filming? And there's a chance that if we went again, we could get a better day where we don't have any kind of miraging going on. Because that's my intention on Friday, is to go along and see what I can see. It's possible that I might not even see this. This might not even be in the view. It's possible. Because who knows what the weather conditions are like over here. So yeah, thanks for saying that, because it just made me want to look at that. I love man. Yeah, we should maybe rename it that. Douglas, the capital Paul from Liverpool. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah. Who else have we got in? Does anyone have anything bad to say about Requiem? And Be Here and Love. Hey Rani. Spurs Kismo. Let's go to your channel. Let's just check that out. Yeah, I believe you're the real Spurs. Add as moderator. There we go. Would you be able to go out to the Isle of Man with some signal light of some sort of rather means that the filming site could visit each? Yeah. I mean, I think we're thinking of doing that in the summertime. Where's Shill? Where's Shill? Let's see. Shill scanner. There we go. Yep. Remember, this is bash a troll. See a troll come in, get him bashed. Oh, PC Gamer, the Lumberjack, also visited me. Well. See you later, my friend. Nice of you stopping by, but don't need you in the chat. Yeah, sorry, going back to what you were saying. Yeah, I think me and Anthony are going to do that. I'm happy. In fact, we also have a couple of people that are actually on the Isle of Man that want to do this as well. So it's possible that I don't need, maybe not even need to go over to the Isle of Man. They can do it themselves. And you know, whether it's fireworks or something like that, they could set off, because I think you need a firearms license to use a signal flare or something like that. So maybe fireworks would work, perhaps. But we do know that the Lang Ness lighthouse does light up, so it is operational and it does work. So, and also we know that the ferries go into Douglas Harbour, and people that live in the area say that they can see the ferries going in the Douglas Harbour. So I've checked, and unfortunately, because of the short days that we have at the minute, when the ferries are leaving and when they're coming in just happens to be when it's dark. So I'm not sure if we'll be able to see the ferries, but there's a chance that we might be able to see the lighthouse light up. And if we do, I keep my P900 in that same area and just do it like a 30-minute video. Hopefully at some point we'll get that lighthouse switching on, and it will not just prove the observation, but it will just add to the observation, because we know the proof is already out there. So, you know, it's that lighthouse that we've identified on the left is indeed the lighthouse that's on the left. It's Lang Ness. But it'd be nice, yeah, to just get some clarity with that. If we saw the lighthouse come on and put a massive signal light out and we caught that on video, that would be pretty cool. So who else have we got? Yeah, so yeah, I see the trolls have given up for the time being. Maybe they're trying to regroup. I'm sure they'll be willing to come back in soon, because the idea of the first few hangouts on here is basically to bash the trolls. So if you get the troll coming in, instant ban them. You've all got wrenches, you know what to do. I don't need the filth in the chat. And with 62 watching right now, that's fantastic. I really didn't think I'd get this many people watching, to be fair. Hi Stephen, Jess, yes, yo, yeah. I was just talking to you just recently, so you can have a nice mod. Yep, we want the chat to be civil. Hang on, what's this? Would you be able to go out to the Isle of Man with some signal lights or some sort of elements of the filming? I've just answered that, Requiem. We do have some people that live in the Isle of Man who have already stated in Skype chats that they will be willing to go along and do anything of that kind of nature that we needed. I tell you what, actually, I was thinking about this, actually. Anthony, would you agree? You're in chat. This is something that's we were going to do from Blackpool, if you remember. I was going to go and park the car and put the signal light, the headlights on, and put the high beam on, and you could see me. Now, where are we? Where's Douglas? Right, okay, Douglas is over here. So we've got road here, right? Now we know we're seeing Douglas, but imagine if we was to able to get a car to come on and say, drive down here and park here facing this way, put the high beams on at night, or the fog lights or something. Do you think that would be bright enough to be seen? Because I know there is a couple of little lighthouses here as well that might be operational. There's one there. That's one lighthouse. I think there's another one. Just can't think where it is. But yeah, get the high beams on a car here. I know they were talking about using a signal flare, but would that not be just as good? Because it's high enough. I mean, when I say high enough, you shouldn't be able to see it, but we know we're living on a flat plane. So if they were to park up by the side of these trees here and shine the headlights down there for maybe 10 minutes, that would give us the option to focus in on them, you know, because here we are. In fact, that'd be awesome, actually. Park the car here, headlights on, looking down this way, because that's where you took your video from, in this direction. And yeah, that'd be awesome to see that. What do you think? Think it would work? Do you think it would work? Well, yeah. What I'm saying, Anthony, if we were talking to them directly, mobile phones. So we're talking directly to them, and let's say it's getting dusk. So if they could get up there at say 4 o'clock or 4:30, and we're filming, and we know we're looking over there, and it's going dusk, and we ask them to smash the headlights on, right? And they put the headlights on, and then we get the lights come on exactly as we're filming it, you know, that would prove that we were looking at Douglas. I mean, we know we're doing it, but, you know, we know what we're looking at. It's only the trolls that are denying this. And if you also look at the amount of dislikes, which is fair enough, I don't mind dislikes. Dislikes doesn't really affect me. I'm not really one for worrying about that kind of stuff. When we look at the dislikes of 52 to 20 likes, and I've only had like 62 watching, and we know we've had a bunch of trolls come in, you know, the cum teeth ones. I think he must have had about 40 accounts or so. So you can assume that every time he's coming, he's just clicked the dislike. So this is telling us that they're trying to demoralize with things like the dislike, like it affects us. But the real people know that it's probably only a handful of people that are going out doing this. And we know this. And I think most of the people that are in the chat that are listening just listen. They come in just to listen. And they know, they can see this sort of stuff happening. And they can see the filth that comes out of the mouths, which is why I won't have that filth on this channel. You know, Nathan can do it. It's his platform. He allows that. And it's good because we've had 40 debates about the Isle of Man, and it's literally shown the balls up to be the filth that they are. I mean, having that for everybody to see, it gave a story, and it has created a story in a story. I mean, the story was just, hey, guess what, guys? We've got a video and we can see Ireland. And from that, the drama that's unfolded on it, and the way that we had them end up boycotting the show simply because they couldn't handle the truth. So rather than you know, rather than leave gracefully, they decided to just boycott and make it out that they're boycotting and sniping and porn bombing. And he's got it all out there. So I don't need to have this on my channel. I don't need to have this proof because I already know, and everybody's seen it. They already know. And yeah, drama does make good for a good show. However, if you're trying to be, this is for me personally, this is the way I'm going to run this show, is that I would like people to be able to come in, and if they want to talk about something, they can do it without the worry of somebody jumping down their throats and calling them out and making them, ridiculing them, because there's no safe space in Nathan's hangout. You can't say something and expect to get it through to Nathan or anybody on the panel without at least 3 or 4 of the trolls making horrible remarks to you. So a lot of people are shy and they don't really want to go through that and have that thrust upon them, because in their mind it's not really worth it to be. Some people just don't like being called names. It's fair enough, you know. You've got to have thick skin if you want to debate in Nathan's channel. Definitely have to have thick skin. But in here, you won't need to do that because you'll be amongst friends. So anybody that's a flat earther that wants to come in and discuss things, or even a new baller that just has genuine questions, right? But it's a no troll channel. Absolutely no troll. Let's check that YouTube. Let's see if it's the real one. Hang on. Go to the channel. It could well be, actually. Mind you, he's not uploaded for a while. I think it is actually the real Hugh. Yeah. Just double check. Make sure I'm modding the right one. Yeah, YouTube. Right, there we go. Add as moderator. Boom. So yeah, so this is a safe space. This will be a safe space that people can come in. They can talk about stuff. They won't need to. If they've got any real genuine questions about the North Sea and the observations that we've all taken from around here, they can quite well come in, ask anything they want, and they're not going to get abused because they'll have moderators in the chat that will instant ban all of the trolls. They won't get a look in here. Anybody that says right, they all know the drama that's going on. So things like if somebody comes in and says, I'm a lumberjack and I'm okay, right? That's all they need to say. They don't need to say anything else other than that. They come in and say, I'm a lumberjack and I'm okay. They get banned, because the reason being is that I went on Patricia's show a few days back and recounted a story of when I was a child, and I was talking about a ghost that I saw as a child, right? Or a spirit or something that I saw as a child that was dressed as a lumberjack. And now it's transpired that the trolls have now made sock accounts in the name of the lumberjack and have accused this lumberjack guy and me of having incestuous relationship because it was my uncle who raped me as a child. Okay, so this is very odd. And so if anybody that comes in and says, hi, I'm a lumberjack, they're not coming in just to say, I'm a lumberjack. They're coming in to try and troll me, right? So all the people that are being modded up now, they know the stories that have gone on. So when you see somebody banned, it's not because of the fact that they might have said something that seemed innocuous at the time. They've come in and they've said something that has been an ongoing story, and it has hidden innuendo inside of that story. And they will know, and I will respect their troll radar on their heads. So if they see a troll and they get something sounds just not right, and it could be something even like if they come out and say Lily, for instance. So let's say they come out and say, Lily, you're whatever, Lily, right? Boom, gone, troll. Because no flat earther is going to call Anthony Riley Lily. It's just as simple as that. They wouldn't do it. Oh, and Martin Leakdy. Oh, my, where are you? Yeah, I've been promoting you again, mate. I can't speak highly enough of you. This is his channel, everybody. If you want to jump on over here, this is Martin Leakdy's channel. Absolutely fantastic. Where are we? Martin Leakdy. Add as moderator. And I will show his channel again. Here we go. Flat Earth British, it's called. You can search it for Flat Earth British, or you can search for just Martin Lead. I'm hoping I'm spelling it correctly or saying it correctly. But I absolutely cannot say highly. Look at some of his videos. I'm not going to play any of his videos, but I'm just going to show you the content that he has, which is absolutely fantastic. I mean, where are the people? Exactly. Where are the people? And you start asking questions, and people are sending him information, books, hundreds of years old, real books that have fantastic history inside of it, history that we never knew about. And it questions everything that we've been taught about our history, which, because we're flat earthers, is very, very prevalent to what we're actually thinking about ourselves. We've been told the world's a ball. I mean, you can't get a bigger lie than that. But if they're lying about that, then they could be lying about everything. And what Martin is doing is he's piecing all this together, and he's individually going around and he's finding this information out, and he's displaying it in a way that is so easy to listen to. So yeah, he's got 4,000 subs now, 4,001. I imagine by the end of the year, he's probably going to have close to 10,000 because his work is that good. So yeah, highly recommend you going over to his channel and subscribing over there. Wait until you see Moscow later. It's missing its population. No shit. Yeah, I mean, where are the people? This is what, I mean, I never thought about it that way. I really didn't. I knew that we had history hidden from us, for instance, with what happened in World War I and World War II, and the interim years. But I didn't realize that things had been distorted so much. It's just fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Definitely go to his channel. What else? Sleeping Warrior. You have 2 ice creams. Nathan has 2 ice creams. Which one has diabetes? Hang on, weren't you ill a couple of days ago, Anthony? I thought you ate all the Ball Earth Proof, and that made you very sick. Gave you a bit of indigestion, eating all that Ball Earth Truth and Ball Earth Proof. It tends to do that because all you've been doing on Nathan's is just gobbling up that Ball Earth Proof, haven't you? Gobbling it all up, and you had so much of it, you had to have a day off because you had indigestion. Right, I'll be back in 1 minute, guys. Just hang on. Literally 1 minute. Right, who else have we got in chat? Okay, let's have a look. I'm a giraffe. That's funny. Oh yeah, and also if anybody comes in with a account name with like the cum teeth or anything like that, or it's a fake account. For instance, if it comes in and it's a fake YouTube or a fake Nathan Oakley or anything like that, just ban them. You know, I mean, it literally is. It's very, very simple on this channel. If you're a troll or if you're a fake account, and the only reason you make fake accounts is because you're a troll, just ban them. Get rid of them. Don't need them here. I'm hoping. I know, Pete, you're going to go live soon at some point. I know you was talking about that. So it'll be interesting to pop into your channel, see what you're talking about. But yeah, in future, you know, people like Pete. And I know you're only saying Pete is a troll. I don't know. I think Pete has his ideas about the dodo, and that kind of coincides with what Martin's producing at the minute about his history isn't history. Well, not the history. Well, history is history, but not the history we've been taught. Who else? Yeah, and then obviously, you know, I mean, I'm hoping that the panel will be able to be opened up to people such as YouTube. You know, I mean, I don't think I've ever spoken to you. I've seen the work you've done. It was a bit of a bummer when you lost your last channel, but it'd be interesting to perhaps speak with you. Sleeping Warrior might get you on at some point, but to be fair, we've heard enough of you recently. Here we go. Look at this one. Bob from Globebusters pretending his daydreams are fact since 2014. Now, that's the kind of that we don't need to go any further. The message might have been, "Hi everybody, I'm feeling great," but just look at the name, guys. Seriously, look at that name. If you think for 1 minute that an account like that is going to stay around in this debate, you have another thing coming. So you're getting the idea on this. He is very concerned about them coming to you. Oh yeah, and oh yeah, I just wanted to address something as well, because I have been asked in chat recently, because what it seems that's happening is that people, the ballers, especially the trolls, are trying to cause division between myself, Anthony, Nathan and Chris. And the reason they're trying to do that is because they failed at everything else. So today I was asked on many different occasions whether or not me and Nathan are now friends. And, you know, I was ignoring that question because I just thought, well, it's pointless. But when I spoke to Nathan earlier, and he actually said, well, do you know what? I would just tell him the truth. Whatever the truth is, just tell him about it and I'll tell you the truth. Me and Nathan had a falling out some time back. It got very bitchy for a time. And, you know, we both took things probably a little too far. However, since we've been working on this Isle of Man stuff, we've got to appreciate each other's work. I appreciate the reason he has his channel and the reason he runs the channel the way he does. And for the purposes of what it's actually done, it's worked brilliantly, because it's you could probably write a book on this whole Isle of Man story and what's actually the things that have happened through exposing it on Nathan's debates show. So from that perspective, you know, I've got to know Nathan a little bit better than I did originally. And from that point, I would class him as a very good friend on Flat Earth now. We've spoken to each other probably every single day now for the past 2 months, maybe 6, 7 weeks, 2 months, something like that. And from being very hostile towards each other to start with, now we are, I would class him as a friend, yeah. So there you go. Make that what you will. They were hating each other months ago. Well, things change. You know what? Things do change. You know, and sometimes you do get caught up in the bad side of stuff. And with that, Well, right, hang on, Pete Shea. What about what Rory McPhizz had to say? Yeah, I spoke with Rory McPhizz, and I had him as a guest on my last channel, and he talked to me about what had apparently been said between him and Nathan. Now, I don't know if it was word for word accurate. Firstly, I don't even know if that conversation actually even took place. But at the time, I was pretty pissed with Nathan, so I was quite happy to um, allow him to come on and voice his accusations about what was said. Okay, so he did, and he seemed very sincere with what he said. So I don't know, I can't answer that. But what I will say is that I was never there, so I'm only believing two people here. I've got Rory on one side and Nathan on the other, and because I believed both of them. Both of them have said individual. I believed Rory when he said his thing, and I believe Nathan now when he says his thing. So either wires have been crossed, something's been said that hasn't been as the way Rory heard, or somebody is lying and they're a very good liar. But ultimately, that has nothing to do with flat Earth. Nothing to do with flat Earth. Flat Earth is a completely different story, as is knowing my telephone number, where I live, phoning me up in the middle of the night. That has nothing to do with flat Earth. It has zilch to do with flat Earth. As is making accusations about other flat earthers. So, for instance, when you've got Antonio and Patricia are arguing, that's their argument, but bringing it to the debate isn't helping anybody. It's not moving the things forward, right? So whatever was said between Nathan and Rory, that when they had that talk, if they didn't even have a talk, I don't know, I wasn't there. You just got to believe one or not believe the other or whatever, right? But whatever was said, and I'll tell you now, I've spoken to Nathan quite a lot, and I don't get the impression that he is that type of person. But then again, I don't also get the impression that Rory's a liar. So who do you believe? It's very hard to say anything. We don't know anything about the people on flat Earth. We only know the proofs. And the proofs are what we can actually prove. And if you can't prove anything, then there's no point in speculating about it, and there's no point talking about it. So when you're accusing people of being a tranny or a cross-dresser or anything else that you can think of, or whether the man in the wardrobe comes out with an axe and he chops your head off because you're a child and you believe in that stuff, right? All of that stuff means absolutely nothing because nobody can bloody well prove it, right? I can't prove that I spoke to a man in the wardrobe when I was 3 years old. I can't do it, right? It's just me telling a story. That's it. And the simple fact that somebody asked that question was simply another way of putting diversion between myself, Nathan, and Rory. So now I've got Rory on the one side, who is a flat earther, and now I've got Nathan on the other side, who is a flat earther who I'm working with. And I've had Rory on my other channel. And now somebody asked that question, I addressed it, and now I'm offending either one or the other or both of them, simply because I was asked a question and I answered it. But the best way I can answer it is that, and the only reason that people ask this sort of stuff is because they're trying to cause division. Who was it who fucking asked that question? Who asked that question? Because now I actually think about it, right? Who asked the question? Was it Pete? Pete. What was your point in asking that then? Seriously, because it's only going to drive, division between one or the other. That's all it's going to do. So it's either going to offend Rory or it's going to offend Nathan, right? So why are you dragging it up and why are you asking about it? Why can't we move on? Right? Can't we just move on and forget about it? Whatever happened, it happened. It's said, it's done. He didn't actually, if he did actually say it, he didn't actually go and finger somebody's child, did he? Right? It never happened. He never actually did it. So the simple fact that we all say stuff in rants, right? We all say stuff. Tell me a time, Pete, that when you haven't actually said to someone to go fuck themselves, right? Tell me a time that you haven't actually gone and done that, right? Because I'll guarantee you that I have, right? And I'll also tell you that I've been in the chats when I've been being dragged down to the gutter level of the people that are in the side chats. And they bait you so much that you eventually respond, right? And you'll respond and you might say to them, go fuck a duck or something. I don't know. Just something like that. Does that mean I actually go and fuck ducks? Because I haven't actually gone and fucked a duck just because I said it. You know, I mean, there's a difference between what you say and what actually happens, right? It's a simple, simple fact. If the whatever was said is said. Whatever wasn't said is not said. And I don't, you know, I think you need to get over that, Pete. Because realistically, all you're doing is driving wedges between three flat earthers. There's me, there's Nathan, and there's Rory. That's it. Right? So you asking these questions and keep bringing it up is only causing issues between the three of us, and nobody's getting any further in it. Mr. Nobody, Martin Leakey. I don't know. I mean, Martin, are you, Martin Leakey and Mr. Nobody? Are you guys? Have you guys fallen out? If you've fallen out, I don't know if you've fallen out. I haven't been on the flat Earth scene for that long. I've only been on flat Earth for about 9 months. So, you know, I don't know if you guys have fallen out before. You know, Mr. Nobody and Martin Leakey. Perhaps if you've fallen out, and I don't know what the issue's with. But if you haven't, or you have, maybe you should start working together. If you've, you know, let's start making things happen here. You know, if we're just going to infight between ourselves, we're never going to make anything. This flat Earth's going to go nowhere because we're just going to end up eating ourselves. We've got enough problems with the ballers. We don't need to be fighting amongst ourselves. You know, and it's time to put our egos to the side. I don't have an ego. I don't care about this sort of stuff. I don't care whether I get dislikes, likes. It doesn't bother me. I don't care if people subscribe. I'm really not interested. You know, at the end of the day, I just want to get to the facts of stuff, and the facts are: do we live on a flat Earth or do we live on a ball? And you know, all my research up to now says we live on a flat Earth. You know, it's as simple as that. But if we spend all our time fighting with each other, right? For the last 10 minutes, I've just spent the last 10 minutes talking about Pete. And Pete's, you know, question about Rory and Nathan. And realistically, it's something that happened, what, a year ago? You know, and it was something that was maybe said or not said, just said, spoken. And he didn't actually say he was going to go around fingering the child. He just said something. I mean, if he did say it or he didn't, does it? Are you not understanding how irrelevant it is in the big scheme of things? You know, it genuinely doesn't really need. The only reason you would bring that up is to try and troll or to try and cause division. And I really don't think there's a place for it right now on flat Earth. You know, we need to be moving past that. We're on a wave of good feeling at the minute because we have good proof for flat Earth. We have a lot of people working behind the scenes. We've got FE Core that are doing great work. I've heard of some of the stuff that they're doing, and it's fantastic. If it comes off and they do what they're intending to do, this year is going to be absolutely brilliant, right? We have the debate over at Nathan's, where anybody's welcome. Pete, you're welcome to join there. Anybody's welcome to join the ballers. You know, if you want to have a rant fest over there, you can say anything you want to anybody in the chat, and it all goes, right? Let's see how you do Ranty. I'll leave it to you. There are actors around flat. I know there are, Pete. I'm sure there are actors everywhere, Pete. I am sure there are. But if they come out with one good evidence every year, that's a little bit of evidence that we can put in a little box. And eventually we'll have a big enough box that we can break the mold and say, hey, guys, look at all this flat Earth proof that we have, right? And when you say actors, we don't, the only actors that I'm actually seeing at the moment are the trolls. I mean, if you class yourself as a flat earther and you put flat earth content out, you need to put content out that is related to flat earth, right? So anything they put out is going to forward the movement, right? Okay. So as simple as that. I mean, just me being on here now with, oh God, 65 people watching, fantastic. I mean, I didn't think I'd get this many. I'm just me talking. So me just literally hit the Knuckle Brothers, right? See ya, Knuckle Brothers. Hang on, wait a minute, just a minute before you ban him. Let me just see, because I have a feeling that the Knuckle Brothers could be an insinuation of myself and Anthony Riley. Oh yes, it is. He has to go. I mean, let's have a look at this. Let's have a look at this. Open the image in a new tab. Let's have a look at how well they've done this, shall we? So here we have Anthony Riley, and obviously myself, and obviously this is the Chuckle Brothers. So they've taken the time to crop out my face and Anthony Riley's face, put it on the Chuckle Brothers, and then name themselves. What did they call them? What did he call themselves? The Knuckle Brothers, right? So I'm assuming this is probably Lottie. This is probably Lottie Says. This is the thing that he's been calling me recently, the knucklehead and all this kind of stuff. So it probably is him. So Knuckle Brothers, boom, awesome. It's worse than NASA's photoshopping it. It's pretty lame, to be fair. But you see, simply having an account of that name, and if you're following the debate and you're following the side of these trolls, how they work, this is the type of thing that they do. So they create an account that is designed to kind of cause a reaction. They think it's funny. They maybe laugh about it between themselves. I suppose, yeah, it is kind of funny, but come on, you can't expect to stay behind in this debate. You won't stay in here with a name like that. No matter if you just said hello, wouldn't matter. Just the fact that that's what you came out with. It is Lottie, yeah, it definitely is Lottie. What was it he said before? He had a job in an office, didn't he? He was working on a Saturday, and he had to finish at 12:30. So that's kind of an early finish if you're going into work on a Saturday. So unless you started work at, I don't know, 6 o'clock, but what office job starts at 6? I can't really think, because I've never worked in an office, so I don't really know. Maybe someone can clear that up for me, how you can finish at 12:30 on a Saturday working in an office, and bearing in mind spending an hour in Nathan's chat speaking at the top of your voice, ranting and raving, right, about the flat earth and the ball and how we were all retards. And he's in an office, he's at work, and he's on his computer for an hour, and he's on the phone ranting and raving for an hour. How is that even possible? How can that even be? Because I honestly don't know that. Because I would assume that if you worked in an office, you'd have to do some work, and you'd also have other people in the office that were, coming in and out or walking by the door, and all they would hear is this Lottie going bananas about a flat earth or a ball, and he still kept his job. I mean, I just don't understand how that works. I mean, maybe I'm just misinterpreting what he was saying, but that's how it came across. And he said he was at work in an office. Yeah. So yeah, he's an actor. That's an actor, definitely. So people like him, Mark Taylor, he's an actor. And they have a hierarchy of troll. You've got the lower echelons of troll, people that are trying to climb the way up. So people like Miles Davis, he's at the bottom of the heap, so to speak, right now. So he's like probably a 1 out of 10 on the, on the troll scale. So he's got a long way to go. And then you've obviously got your people at the top, who are people like Soundly and stuff like that, who have been elevated from a very low position some months ago to right up at the top now. You also have, I still think it was Powerland on Nathan's show earlier. What, today? Do you? Could have been, actually, thinking about it. Yeah, you've got other people, like you got Res Rhetoric. I actually went on his show, actually, and it was very cordial. It was definitely something that I expected to go into the Lion's Den, and he was actually very cordial. But he's one of the higher echelons of baller troll kind of thing. There's a fair few others, and people are still trying to climb that echelons. But for the chats, I think Mark Taylor is perhaps the worst one. And then, of course, you've got the ones that are happy to speak, like Lottie, that will come in and pretends to be all friendly with you. But ultimately, he's just there to snipe, because he snipes. The last time I was in the hangout on Nathan's, he sniped the whole panel. And then he just said he was moderating, and he waited, and he was allow people to speak for a few minutes, and he'd snipe them out. So, yeah, it was definitely him. Caesar, a lot of flat earth people have concerns about Patricia. Are you worried about her evidence will lose value with percentage there? Not really, because I'll tell you for why. She has a lot of subscribers. So a lot of people don't believe in that stuff. When you say a lot of flat earth people have concerns about Patricia, I would disagree with that, because I don't actually believe that. When you say a lot of flat earth people have concerns about her, why would they? Right, let's put it another way, right? Would it make any difference, right, if she was a male or a female? Would it make any difference to this argument? Would it make any difference if she was a male at one point who turned herself into a female and says that she's just a female? Would it make any difference to the fact that she has 12,000 subs and is a flat earth proponent and brings smaller channels onto her show to elevate them up and get a few more subs so that they can grow to spread the flat earth? Tell me, does it make any difference? Because in my opinion, that makes no difference. So when you say a lot of flat earthers, you mean perhaps what, maybe half a dozen or 10? You know, I mean, you got MGTV and stuff like that who's saying stuff about her. But, you know, let's face it, the very first video that he put out about Mark Sargent, in fact, I'll do that right now, actually. This is the very, very, very first video. Right, hang on, let's go on here. Let's show you this now, right? Because you won't believe me any other way, right? But MGTV put a video out about marksargent.com, right? And he said, well, let me show you. Let me just show you. Wayback machine. So if you go to Wayback Machine, let's have a look here. And Wayback Machine, what it does is it takes a snapshot every so often of a particular website or domain in its particular state at any time. So when I type in marksargent.com, here we go, I've already got it pre-thinged, marksargent.com and Wayback Machine, we browse the history of that, right? And what it does is it gives you a rundown of marksargent.com and where it was over the years. So 1996, 7, 8, 9, nothing. It was first registered in 2007, and they have 3 screen captures or 4 screen captures for the domain in that year. In 2008, it also was still registered, but in 2009, it's gone. Now, what's happened is the owner that bought it in 2007 would have either bought it for 2 years or 1 year and then renewed it. And then, thinking it had no value or use, he allowed it to expire and it dropped. So in 2009, nobody owned it. And then in 2010, someone came along and bought marksargent.com again, re-registered it with GoDaddy or something like that. And in 2011, it was still owned by the same person, as you can see. And then in 2012, it dropped again. So it came off the register. Nobody owned it in 2012. So that was its history up until that point, right? Then in 2013, it was renewed again. Somebody picked it up, went to GoDaddy and put in marksargent.com, and it was available to buy, and they bought it, right? So let's go to 2014. So we'll go to this year. Click on 2014, and we have some screenshots here. We have a date of January the 8th, May the 17th, December the 17th, right? So I don't know actually. Let's go to December the 17th, shall we? So in 2014, this is what the domain site looked like in 2014 when it decides to refresh itself. Okay, this domain, marksargent.com, this is in 2014. The date that I just told you, what date was it? Hang on. December the 21st, 2014, up here, December the 21st, 2014, right? So here we have marksargent.com. This domain is for sale. 837 of Mark Sargent's blah, 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 found addresses, blah, blah, blah. Find the Mark Sargent's, your thing. Marksargent.com is for sale. The price is $995, right? So straight away, MGTV, who said that in 2012, this guy, what was he called? Bloody hell. Ralph Reel, right? So in 2012, Ralph Reel bought marksargent.com, and he's owned it from then ever since. And it's all this massive conspiracy. Well, you can see right now using Wayback machine that in 2014, December, so the end of 2014, it was owned by somebody who had it on the market for $995, right? You can see that. I've not manipulated anything. This was the simple state of the website at that time, right? Now I'll go back and we shall have a look at marksargent.com. Here we go. So let's go to 2016, right, shall we? Let's see what happened in 2016. Again, for marksargent.com. So if I go to March 2016.com, March the 14th, this will be another screenshot of what actually the domain looked like at that time. Here we go. marksargent.com is for sale by hugedomains.com. Now, I'm a domainer. That means that I buy and sell domains, right? So, just one second. As it currently stands, I have over 200 domains, right? So I might own something like, okay, let's have a look around here. Right, customer service. So if I own the domain customerservice.com, it would probably be worth about $50,000, right? Because it's a very valuable name, because it has nice words that go with it. And you can you could actually make a very good website from customerservice.com, right? So I own domains like that, right? So Huge Domains is also in that business. They buy lots of domains. So Huge Domains is exactly what it says. It has a lot of domains, right? And I've been in competition with these. So I've been in end of sale, close out bidding with these guys. And they have more money than me. So quite often they will end up purchasing a domain that I actually want. But in this particular case, they owned marksargent.com on April the 8th, 2016, a screenshot from web.archive.org. Now, I believe that because I know Huge Domains and I know how they work. They buy names, especially like this, with names that are actually very familiar to people. So there is a Mark and a Sargent. So they will have owned this. Not for the simple fact because they knew Mark Sargent might come along and be a flat earther, just because the name Mark Sargent, there's a lot of Mark Sargents. So there's probably a chance that some Mark Sargents would want to own this domain and they'll charge you a fortune for it. So they bought this. And on the April the 8th, 2016, marksargent.com was owned by them, right? wasn't owned by Mark Sargent. Huge Domains owned them, right? So MGTV, when he went out and he said Mark Sargent owned this or Ralph Reel owned this in 2012, is utter horse manure. Because what happens is it's just the same as owning a car, right? The car might have been made in the year 2000, right? For instance. And you might own it right now. So your name will be on the document. So let's say your name is John Smith. So you're John Smith and you've owned this car, and you own the car now, and it was bought in 2000. Does that mean you owned it from 2000? Hell no. It's just that at the end of the day, when you go to places like GoDaddy and you look for the who is of marksargent.com, it just tells you the current owner. It doesn't say how many previous owners there were. It doesn't do that. But fortunately, because Huge Domains always put a splash page on their domains, such as this, we were able to get this screen capture April the 8th, 2016, that showed that he or Huge Domains owned it and Mark Sargent didn't, or neither did Ralph Reel. So when MGTV puts this information out and does a whole, his first marksargent.com video was all about this domain, right? So once you've debunked that, you realize that the rest of it is utter tripe as well. So then when you try and bring Patricia into this, again, by association, what you believe in is MGTV and you're not actually believing the facts. This is the facts. The facts are that his entire first video about Mark Sargent was based on the domain name marksargent.com. And it was all bullshit because he didn't own it in 2012. He didn't own it in 2013, 2014, 2015. And it was only in late 2016 that it was transferred over, i.e. Ralph Reel bought it from Huge Domains for the price that they wanted him to buy it for. And that was it, right? So once you realize that that MGTV first video was utter tripe, how do you know what the rest is? Because if you got that wrong, then the rest of it follows that everything, all the evidence that followed after that about the apps and all that kind of stuff was all based around this bloody marksargent.com domain, which he didn't own. He didn't own it, people. So when you're asking about, do I trust Patricia and other, there's a lot of other flat earth people out there that don't believe in showing the evidence on her platform. Well, more fool them, isn't it? Because at the end of the day, they did, as far as I can work out, they did nothing wrong. You know, so whether it's true, whether they are shills, who knows? Again, I don't know. I've not met them personally, but I've spoken to Patricia quite a lot on Skype. And to me, she seems like a genuinely real, normal, everyday person. And once you realize that we are facing threats from within and threats from the outside as well. So we've got people trying to derail us and spread smears and stuff like this, all this MGTV stuff, right? They're all coming down on us and they're all trying to muddy the waters and they're all trying to get us to infight and fight each other. We're not only fighting on one front, we're fighting on two fronts, then we're fighting each other. And as soon as you realize that, you've got to work out who's the shills, who really are the shills, and who is the people trying to cause the arguments. And when you realize that the people are trying to cause arguments, you've got to just think, what point does that evidence become real? Because this isn't real evidence. This is lies. marksargent.com, Mark Sargent and Ralph Reel did not own marksargent.com in 2012. So that was all bullshit. They didn't own it until 2016. Right? And that ties in with everything that Mark Sargent has ever said about his beliefs in the flat earth. It genuinely does. Right? So when the facts don't back up MGTV and the facts actually exonerate Mark Sargent, right? Who do you actually believe? Because I know where I would nail my hat right now. Because I can prove that who owned what. And his entire basis for attacking Mark Sargent was based on this domain name, which with just a little bit of research, and he must have done his research, right? He must have done his research. He must have been able to check this and he deliberately withheld that information from his followers. Again, like what Miles Davis is doing, deliberately hiding information, right? Because it goes against the narrative that they're trying to peddle. So when Miles is trying to peddle the ball earth, and you've got MGTV trying to peddle the marksargent.com domain name so that everything else could follow in suit, right? He wasn't being honest with his listeners. He wasn't being honest with his subs. So I have no problem going on Patricia's and doing that. She has 12,000 subs, far more than any of us combined, and they're all there for the flat earth. All of them. So yeah, and it's gaining traction, people. You know, I know that Nathan's reached out. He's had a contact from the BBC be in touch with him. I know that Mark Sargent shared it on his Rune Svanti. I see that I'm in those shoes as well. Seeds of doubt. There is very strange thing. Well, yeah, I mean, seeds of doubt. Yeah, of course it is, mate. Right, listen. Right, I'm new to flat Earth, so I haven't. Am I a Freemason? No, I'm not. Absolutely, absolutely not. No, I'm not a Freemason. Seeds of doubt. Yeah. I came to the flat Earth really, really late. I mean, I don't know all the drama that's going on. Right. Clearly, there's so much drama that has already been and passed. And you know, I put that down to antagonists, people in the flat earth and people from outside the flat earth that are just deliberately stirring the pot. And it's weird, it only takes a couple of words here and there, a little whisper here and a little whisper there, and before you know it, the lie has spread. And then people that would be friendly normally suddenly hate each other. And then everything that the baller or the troll tried to instigate has happened and come to pass just by people's ego getting in the way, rather than rather than listen to the other person's side of things, just believing the ballers and the trolls. And where I'm picking up on this immediately because I'm new to this, and I'm seeing this happen, physically see it happen. I'm getting people messaging me telling me that Nathan's this, and Anthony Riley said this, and Chris Monk is this, and everybody's this, that, and the other. And I'm like, guys, I know these people. I'm not even, don't even go down that route, because I'm just not going to go there. And even for Pete Shea, I actually believe Pete Shea is not an actor. I actually believe he's a genuinely real flat earth person who has a belief in something. I don't believe he's an actor. I just believe he's wrong with believing that other people are actors. That's what I believe. And the sooner we realize that, if we fall into their trap of arguing with people, right, and believing stuff without doing proper research, look at Patricia, right? She's got 210 shows or something like that, right? She's had so many flat earthers on her channel. What would be the motive for attacking her? Think about it, people. Think about it. What is the motive for attacking her? Because she hasn't peddled any information. She's just put a platform out there for smaller channels like myself, like Anthony Riley when he went on, like Arwin to go on. There's people in this debate right now, in this channel, in the chat, that have been on her show, and they've been on it because they were a small channel. They're doing independent research, and she's given them a platform to display their findings, right? It's a leg up, basically, right? So ask yourself, what would be the point of creating division? Seriously, what would be the point of that? What would be the point of targeting her if it wasn't to try and bring her down? Why would they want to bring her down when all she's offering is a platform for other flat earthers? Think about it, people. What would be the motive behind that? Why would they want that to happen? And it's once you realise this, it's a very easy thing to work through. You then realise, well, they want to bring that down. They want to cause division with her so that people, so then she gets loses all the subs and becomes discredited, and then nobody listens to the new flat earthers that are coming in with real evidence. It's an attack on somebody that's really not doing anything to be warranted attacking, you know? And like YouTube says, she gets attacked because she never puts her foot wrong. Yeah, I agree. You know, having spoken to her on Skype, you know, you can see how meticulous she is with the channel, and you know, the way she would like the format to go. She's very professional with what she does, but she doesn't go out of her way to offend anybody. She tries to help the flat earthers. So why would people want to throw her under a bus? Just makes no sense. You know, so guys, just think about this, you know. So anyway, I think I'm getting a bit hoarse now because I've been talking for 2 hours, and it was nice to give some wrenches out to people, and you can use those wrenches at will on any ball or troll that comes in. It is your right as a flat earther or a mod in particular on this channel to just instantly smash them around the head with the ban. You have every right to do that, because I want this channel to just be, as they say, an echo chamber. It can be an echo chamber. I don't care. And they can sod off because they're not welcome here. You know, Nathan allows them in. Brilliant. Here, not so much. Do we get to keep the spanners? Yes, you do. Anyone that's been given a spanner, unless you turn out to be misusing it in some way, you get to keep your spanner. I don't believe that anybody that I've got in that has a spanner right now is going to misuse it, because I believe they will just use it respectfully to bash the trolls with. That's what it's there for. It's a troll bashing weapon. Anybody with a troll name or anybody with troll words, you know the people. You've been following the debate. You can use your discretion to smash them around the face. And if they feel that they've been banned unfairly, they can message me directly, and I will review it. But it's unlikely that I'll overturn that, because the people that I'm looking at now in chat, I kind of trust their judgment. That's why I've given them a wrench. And so with that, I will leave my friends for tonight, and I will probably see you tomorrow on Nathan's show. And I might do another hangout later on in the week, perhaps Thursday. Thursday might be a good day for me to do this. And a couple more of these, literally just a couple more of these. We'll get rid of all the trolls, and then I can start having people on the debate, and we can start talking flat earth, and we can start moving forward, and we won't be worried about having all the trolls.